small process and that you're in and out of the markets very quickly. Scalpers actually are a bit more, excuse me, a bit less conservative than we are. And there are other rules for scalpers. So I don't identify as a scalper personally. However, if your definition of scalper is small targets and staying out of the markets for a very long time, then yes. And that's fine. So we're usually looking for 5 ticks hard target. Now that's what I do, and that's what a lot of the people have done. They've adopted my rules, and they tend to do that too because they're noticing that their win rates go way up. And we're going to talk about that. So let's hold off on that. But yeah, we want small targets, and we want to be out of the markets as much as possible. So that means that we're expecting an immediate reaction, and that we can take advantage of that immediate reaction to exhaustion. So, and that's what we're going to talk about. All right. So we got a lot to go over today. And again, thanks everybody for coming. A couple of things. Um, I've got a lot to present today. We've got a lot to cover, and we're going to be here for a little while. And hopefully, you guys find it entertaining and more importantly, informative. I love seeing all this from all over the world. This is excellent, and I'm glad that I hope it's all coming in clear. Um, One thing I wanted to let you know, there is if it's not one thing, it's another when it comes to technology. I'm not far from the wildfires, and yesterday we were having intermittent internet issues. I haven't noticed it yet today. And then on top of that, my hard drive decided to reboot the computer several times right in the middle of working. So I think I got that fixed. I think they're both fixed. But I'm just going to kind of give you guys a heads up. If I just vanish all of a sudden, Connor is here, and Connor will let you know what's going on. I can get in touch. We can be in touch with each other, and I will reboot, and we'll get started where we left off. I just want to let you know it's possible, but I hope it doesn't happen. Okay. Now the next little order of this is I do not read the chat. Okay, so if you ask me questions while I'm going through all of this information, I'm not going to answer you. Now, Connor might answer you, or any of our other traders. I see a lot of our traders here today that will be happy to also help answer some of your questions. If you have something specifically for me, we are going to have a short question and answer at the end of before I start going into the next stuff. All right. So we will have a question and answer period. So if you have something specifically you want to ask me, wait for that. Okay. If you have just general questions, go ahead and put it in. I'm sure Connor or any of our other traders will answer that for you. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to cover up the chat. So just so you know, I'm not listening. I'm not looking at. I'm not reading the chat. I'm not going to respond to any comments directed towards me or whatever's going on because I just don't see it. Okay. All right. We are going to have a special offer coming up at the in the middle of the presentation. I'm going to have a special offer, and then at the end of the presentation, I'm going to have a different special offer. Okay, so you guys hang in there, and if you're looking for a great deal on what we do, it's going to be well worth it. Okay, all right. So you guys remember this guy, right? This is the guy from the early '80s TV commercials, the Dunkin' Donuts baker, and the whole idea of this. Making the donuts thing. Okay, if you remember the commercial, the guy gets up and it's time to make the donuts. day in, day out. He just gets up. God, I'm going to go make the donuts. It's time to make the donuts. And it's the same thing every single day. Okay? He does the same thing. He does the same way. He makes the same high quality donuts using the same recipe every day. Nothing changes because nothing needs to change. Okay? It's the same repetitive over and over and over again. Okay? So this is exactly what we do. So the whole thing about making the donuts, it could apply to anything that's repetitive, okay? But this guy made this making the donuts famous, so it's just over and over and over again. And that's exactly what we do in our trade room, okay? We have a great group of very friendly people. We trade together every day, and we simply show up, execute our trade plan, and make donuts, okay? So it's as simple as what the chart that you see on the right there. We have a very simple, very straightforward set of rules and indicators that make this probably one of the easiest and most powerful trading systems ever see. Okay. Now, one of the nice things you'll notice here, there's no vagaries. You can see right here, the open of this bar where this star was, this star came up as soon as this bar printed the first tick, this star popped up. This is called a rock star. The entry for this trade is on the open of this bar. Same here. Open of this bar is where we enter the trade. Here and here, all the same. Okay? It's an extremely easy but powerful trade setup. Okay? So in trading, what event is regular and consistent, predictable as a donut factory? Pullbacks from a trend. Every trend has them. Every trend always will. So all we need to know is how to read and understand what's happening just before it happens, right? That's all that we're trying to learn in trading, right? That's all that we need to know. What conditions exist just before something specific happens? And for us, for what we do, we're looking to know why price is exhausted and when it's going to happen. And we do that with a list of technical indicators that are, hold on a second. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. So we've gone to an awful lot of trouble to take some very complicated technical analysis indicators and make them very easy to use. Okay. Too many indicators that I tried using over the years allowed for all of these shades of gray, or there's too much interpretation involved in reading an indicator and how it can be different depending on the conditions. And for many years, that when I was a struggling trader, I kept trying that, and for whatever reason, I kept falling into these shades of gray and never really knowing for sure if I did the right thing. So I decided when I started working on building these indicators, there's going to be a yes or no answer. Okay? Does a condition exist that helps me put on a trade right now? Yes or no? Not kind of, sort of. It's not a great condition, but it's not bad. It's yes or no. So all of our indicators are yes or no indicators. So our first one here and all we do is we put a dot. And by the way, I'm just going over these indicators now so that when you see them on charts, I'm going to be pulling up charts in a little bit. When you see them on charts, you'll have a better understanding of what you're looking at. Okay. So the pullback alert, we're reading every tick that comes into the bar to determine where the buyers and sellers are creating a churning of price, where maybe the buyers were in charge of the bar, and the bar just keeps going up, 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 and suddenly we hit a level. The sellers are sitting and waiting, and that's what's causing that churning. The buyers are still actively buying, but the sellers have been sitting there waiting, and now there's a whole bunch of buying and selling going on inside of a certain price range. There are a lot of different systems that do this, that you have to look at several charts and time frames and all of these different indicators in order to get this information. And I've boiled it down to a dot that gives you a yes or no. Yes, this condition exists, or no, it doesn't exist. And we give you different dots depending how the level of the condition. Okay. Our OBOS indicator is a very simple indicator. We're looking for an overbought or oversold condition without the need to have those sub panels, the oscillators at the bottom of the charts, and we're going to go over this a bit. So all we do is we paint right on the candlestick. Yes, it's overbought, or no, it's not overbought. That's all I need to know. Okay, our speed tick indicator. This identifies when the rate of orders being processed through the market exceeds what is likely us retail traders have the ability to do. Okay, us little guys can't place trades at the rate that the big boys can. Okay, so there's a lot of games being played, but if you're reading the rate of orders that are actually being processed through the market, and that rate reaches speed that it's highly unlikely that retail traders are doing it, you got to go, okay, well, why are the big boys doing it? And they're doing it to create a reaction, and we're going to talk about that some more. Our FT reset, these are our support and resistance lines. They're very strong, and they have a relative strength number on them, so you can anticipate the reaction off those lines based on the relative strength number at the end of the line. Our ricochet identifies sudden acceleration of processed orders. It may not fast like the speed tick, but it was a sudden acceleration, and we often see price stop and pull back after that sudden acceleration. Our Super D, or Super Divergence indicator. We use 7 different momentum oscillators to determine divergence. All right, now the Super D came after these 2 divergence indicators. We're using the same algorithm in the Super D as we used in these 2, the Flash and the McDiver. The Flash uses the RSI, and the McDiver uses the MACD. Okay, and that's to help us understand when divergences happen, and we're going to go over that in a few minutes. Our velocity indicator, when there's a very rapid price changing, may or may not be on high volume, and may or may not move price very far, but we know that there's a lot going on inside that bar. Okay, the Naked Rockstar Zone, this is a tool to help us identify when we're in whether we're inside or outside of a zone or a channel that allows us to take a trade setup called a Naked Rockstar, NRS zone. Okay, Naked Rockstar Zone. So and we'll talk about trading the Rockstar and a Naked Rockstar. But essentially, a Naked Rockstar is a Rockstar trade without support or resistance behind the trade. Okay, for many years I would never take a trade unless I had a safety net behind me, support or resistance. But these Rockstar trades have kind of rewritten my trade plan because they work so well and so often. So our Mo meter, this helps to identify that momentum has increased to a point where exhaustion is imminent. Okay, and then there's the rock star. The rock star has changed things for a lot of people. And essentially, it's the same trade setup that we've been doing for a very long time. We used to call it a speed flash or a speed Mac, but we've combined all of those into one indicator now, and that contains the OBOS, the speed tick, and the super D to create a confluence, or when we have a confluence of conditions, it's indicative of a pullback in price. Okay, and of course, inside the indicator, you have the ability to adjust the OBO, you have the ability to adjust the speed tick to the parameters that you want to use, or the super D, and decide which of the 7 oscillators you want to use. If you want to use all of them or just a few of them, whatever. Okay, so all of that is inside. So those are our indicators that we use in our trade room every day. Now, the whole idea is we want to anticipate exhaustion before it happens. Okay, and that's what gives us an edge. So if you were looking at this chart and you were trading during a period of time where price looked like this, it doesn't really look like exhaustion would be imminent, does it? I mean, price is just kind of drifting around. And then you get this sudden push. This sudden push up into an area where price has not been in a while. And it tends to push up into a zone where it creates a reaction. Okay? It actually creates 2 different reactions, both of them causing the same thing afterwards, and that is that sudden move can either freak people out and scare them, or makes them very excited and happy because price went in their direction. So they have 2 different options, but the net result is the same for both of them. They're both going to start selling. All right, and so suddenly there's this dump on the market of selling all of these contracts or these assets, and the net result of that is that the market is now overwhelmed with all of these contracts, and there's not enough buyers, so price has to start dropping to where they can find people. Okay, so price starts dropping. So that's what we're looking for. All right, this is not rocket science. Trading doesn't have to be rocket science. So I started looking at charts and I started wondering if I can figure out where this exhaustion happened and begin to anticipate that exhaustion if I can just read the signs. And that's the edge that's the only edge that I need. Sometimes it's pretty easy to see a strong push, right? It may seem pretty obvious just by looking at the chart. You can see here that there's a nice strong push. Sometimes it's not as obvious. So we've created this indicator, this meter indicator, that helps us understand momentum. All right. Some people tend to forget to look at momentum before they start looking at the other indicators to try to take a trade setup. But for me, the key is the very first thing I'm going to look at when I'm qualifying a potential trade setup. The very first question I'm going to ask myself is exhaustion imminent? Or is there a reason to believe that exhaustion is going to set in to a point that price is going to stop, at least for a little while, and pull back before it continues on doing whatever it's going to do? All right, so momentum plays a key role in assessing trend strength and potential weakness. It's important to know the trend is likely to become exhausted. The strong momentum does not always lead to exhaustion and a reversal, but it does signal that something will most likely be changing very soon, and the trend may consolidate, retrace, pull back. Trends always stop at some point and retrace and pull back. All trends do it, and they always will. All right? So knowing that, that gives us an edge. All we got to do is figure out where exhaustion is likely to be happening. So for the mole meter, we have the ability, you have the ability to change the colors. You have the ability to change the different thresholds at which the colors change. There's a lot of parameters inside the mole meter. Most people use it just straight out of the box and use those parameters that we have set up, but you can certainly tune it any way you like. Okay. So overbought and oversold, let's talk about that. Our OBOS indicator, remember that? So again, it's supply and demand. If something is overbought, there isn't much left for anybody else to buy. Therefore, it becomes more valuable, right? So this guy bought all of those, whatever it is he has on there. Very few of them exist for any others to buy. So merchants that still have some can charge a higher price. They have to charge a higher price. All right, so it's overbought. This guy's walking around trying to sell these things. There's 10 other guys walking around trying to sell those things. He's got too many, and there are too many on the market. So he's got to lower the price. That's oversold, okay? Nobody is buying any, and more are becoming available. Therefore, it's less valuable now. So that's what's going on inside the markets. A lot of people fail to think about markets as as an auction, okay, and the basics of supply and demand. So all we're looking for with our OBOS indicator, you notice the oscillator, the momentum oscillator, and when it exceeds the extremes of the oscillator, then we get into an overbought or an oversold condition. Here we've got 3 areas where prices become overbought. Now, all of this information here has no value to me because it doesn't give me a yes/no. Yes, it tells me that price is channeling inside the extremes and not trading outside the extremes. But I don't really need to know that to make a decision. Right? Only thing I need to know to make a decision is when price is overbought or oversold. And that's there. Okay? So we go ahead and we just paint the outline of candlestick to say that when we have an overbought and an oversold condition. Now, the OBOS indicator, we use in the trade room the RSI, or the relative strength index oscillator. You have the ability to use any one of all of these oscillators you see in the middle, okay, and use the parameters and change the parameters for those oscillators. Okay, so you have you can change colors. You have all kinds of control over whether you print an outline on the bar, or if you want to just print a triangle or something on top of the bar and not use the colored outline, you can do that also. Okay, so that's OBOS. Again, another way that we're determining the potential for exhaustion. Okay, divergence is huge, huge. When we started adding divergence to what we do, these pullback trades, things started coming together. Okay, our win rate went way up. Okay, now for those of you that don't know what divergence is when we study the price and a momentum oscillator, and when they get out of sync with each other, you have a divergent condition. Okay, out of sync meaning here price is setting a lower low, and on the oscillator down here at the bottom, price is setting a higher low. Okay, that's divergent. So let's do this. So we've got a chart and we've got some sort of oscillator, momentum oscillator, that we're comparing with the chart. It's very common that these run together. Okay, and to the naked eye, if you look at this, it's going to seem like they match up pretty good. You know, you got price just drifting along here. We're drifting along here. we got this drop hard here and this drop hard here. Okay, so it got oversold. Then it comes up, price is drifting, then drops. We got this drop here, then it shoots up. We're up here. Okay, so it looks like the oscillator and price agree. But if you don't know what you're looking at, that's what you're gonna see. A lot of people have tried trading divergence and they quit because it's too easy to miss. But it is one of the, if not the most powerful tool we have. So let's look. Okay, yep, we're setting a lower low on price, a lower low on the oscillator. Okay, so no divergence. We're setting a lower high and a lower high, no divergence. We're setting, boom, we've got a lower low and a higher low. That's divergence. Here's the secret of divergence. Price will always follow momentum. So here's the story on that. Momentum has already started to change directions before price has. Momentum has turned. Price is still dropping, and that's our divergence. Price will almost always follow momentum. That's a powerful piece of information that, applied correctly, gives you a huge edge. Okay, so let me illustrate this a little bit differently. I know this is an oversimplification. So if you look, these are price bars, or the slope of price. All right, and then we have the slope of a momentum oscillator. They're typically going to be in sync to each other. Okay, you'll notice anywhere along the lines they're going to match. They're going to look the same. Now, what happens when price and momentum get out of sync? Okay, you get this divergence, and then price will almost always try to catch up to momentum. All right, so we have a lot of different ways of measuring momentum, looking at divergence, trying to figure it out where we have divergence, and using these oscillators, and which takes up a lot of valuable chart space. And instead, we're going to get into that. Okay, this is divergence from the RSI, and I'll show you how these print in a little bit. But these indicators print live, real time, on the open of the bar that they're on. So during the course of this bar, we watched. This bar opened, this flash printed, and this gave us the heads up that there was a good possibility that price was going to pull back, because price and momentum are out of sync. All right, so we've got these divergence indicators. We've got the flash, the McDiver, and the Super D, which has the flash and McDiver in it. For those that don't want the Super D, you can get just the flash and or the McDiver, or you can get the whole suite of divergence indicators with the Super D. All right, now let's talk about the Rockstar. This has been huge for many traders, and has really helped out an awful lot of people as it relates to qualifying trade setups. Okay, to be honest, I never really thought it was necessary, but I went ahead and I built it anyway, and boy was I wrong about it not being necessary, because people suddenly started seeing it. Okay, so this is the trade setup that we were trading before the Rockstar. All right, here's the same trade setup with just the Rockstar printing on it. Okay, so this is this now with the Rockstar trade. So let's watch the difference. Okay, and I told you would see some of the indicators print in real time. All right, so on the left you'll notice we have a blank chart. In the middle, we have all of our indicators, and on the right, we have the rock star. Okay, so we'll see what the difference is. I'm going to actually come up here and speed this up a little bit. All right, so you notice, let me pause that. You notice on this one, we have an oversold condition, that's our obos, and we have the speed tick. The speed tick is saying that it's very likely that this bar is being manipulated by the big boys because the orders being processed are coming in so fast, highly unlikely that retail traders are doing that, us little guys. Okay? Open of the bar. We have two different divergence signals. This is our McDiver and our flash. Open of this bar, look where the rock star printed on the first tick. Gives us a huge heads up on what's likely to happen next. All right, let's look at the next one. Oops, went too fast. Well, I don't want to mess with this too much. Seems to be lagging. All right, so you can see the confluence, and at the open of the bar, we printed a rock star. And that's making the donuts. That's what we do every day in the trade room. Notice the speed ticks, overbought, divergence, rock star on the same place. So what are we looking for? This is a step-by-step process. If step number one isn't in place, if step number one isn't happening, I don't have a trade. I don't care about any of the other indicators. The very first thing is we want to see that strong push with momentum. The way I have the indicator set is the lighter the color of the bar, these bars, the more imminent the pullback. All right, or that exhaustion has set in. Okay. So we've got to have a strong push. When you see that, and you see it all the time, every day, the markets do this. This isn't a random event. It happens all the time. Go look at your charts. So we're looking at a strong push. When I see that strong push, it has my attention. If that strong push gets overbought and or has a pullback alert telling me that the buyers and sellers are now fighting up in here, then I got a real good idea that something is likely to happen. And then the market makers kick in and really push that bar. So again, two things are going to happen. People are going to panic, or people are going to get greedy. Both of them cause the same reaction, and that is for a sudden dump onto the market, which causes price to drop, or the reverse if you were selling. All right? So we also got our divergence indicators suggesting that even though price is still pushing up, momentum has shifted directions. And that's where we put our trade. All right? Now, we can update this step-by-step process and just put that rock star on there. And the rock star will pop up at the open of that bar, and that's where we execute our trade. Now in the trade room, I still use all those other indicators to, again, get me ready for the rock star to pop up. So it's not like we're just jumping in and out all the time without some really good information. And having a heads up that something might be about to happen will help you be ready. Now, we've got a bunch of these videos on our YouTube page of exactly how we do it over and over and over. Now, we've got a bunch of videos, but after you've watched a few of them, you'll start noticing, hey, I think I already saw this video. It's because it never changes. What we do it over and over and over again. It's making the donuts, man. It's we show up, we sit down, there's no excitement, there's no thrill. It is simply executing when the conditions suggest that exhaustion is imminent and price is highly likely to do something. All right? And that's our Rockstar trade setup. All right, so you can see we did a training session for the Rockstar, and it's also on our YouTube site. Okay, so very important to watch that to better understand what it is that we're doing and why and how. And we're not just going to tell you and show you that when these things line up, place a trade. We'll tell you why it makes sense. All right? When you're looking at the markets, you're looking at people reacting to price, or they're letting you know how they feel about price, and that's what makes price move. Okay? So it's about people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions. All right? If you can boil it down to that, then you have a better understanding of why what we do works so well. All right, so hang in there. We're going to talk about a new product that we just released on Thursday. So hang in there. We're going to talk about how to make your NinjaTrader 8 platform better and for really, really cheap. Okay? But we do have an offer for you guys on our indicators and our bundle packages. Okay? So we've got a couple of different offers. And you can see in each of these offers, we've got our academic that has the Rockstar Mometer, the Naked Rockstar Zone, the velocity indicator, the pullback alert, Obos, speed tick, and then a few other indicators that we use in the trade room, and a month free in the trade room for only $16.49. Now, that's a good deal. That's a great deal. But to be honest, most people go with what we used to call the VIP. Now it's called the Einstein, because the Einstein will give you every indicator that we use in the trade room. It'll give you every indicator we ever develop for the trade room for free. All right, so you never, we call it the one and done, because you never have to pay anything else. It gives you what we're going to talk about coming up here on making a better NinjaTrader 8. That's our EAS, or Essential Add-on Suite. You get that for free. You get unlimited trade room. You get a training program called our Fast Forward program that's unlimited. It's like nothing else out there. You get our Market Replay Data Downloader, which is also in our Essential Add-on Suite now. But if you're still using Ninja 7, you'd have to use our other application, because it does both 7 and 8. But the Essential Add-on Suite has a Market Replay Data Downloader inside of it. But you get access to that as well, and you also get priority remote support if you need it. Okay, so that's our one and done package. All right, so it's time now to jump on and start making some donuts. All right, so we've covered a lot of stuff. I went through it kind of quickly, but I'm going to take just a few minutes to answer any questions that you guys might have for me. I'm not going to read any questions. I'm not going to scroll back and answer questions. So do you guys have any questions for me, or have they all been answered? I'm looking at the chat now. No questions. You guys have no questions. You're all sitting there waiting for me to go right in Essential Add-on Suite. Wait. My performance record? Sure. I mean, it's like really, really good. Why? But you wouldn't want mine. And that's like me asking Tiger Woods, "Hey, can you prove to me these golf clubs are any good?" Okay, so you need to understand this is a trading system that you trade. These are a set of tools that you trade. So tools don't have a trading record. People have trading records, and it depends on how they use the tools and how much work they put into it, how much practice, how much time. This is not a system where you just sit down and pull the trigger. You're still going to have to qualify the trade setups. You still have to be the trader. You still have to work at it. You have to learn to use the tools. So tools don't have a record. You just have high quality tools. And here's an example. I was a contractor for over 20 years, and I may provide tools to all my employees and subcontractors. And so say I bought two of the exact same saw, maybe a miter saw, chop saws, whatever. And I gave that saw to two different guys and told them to go trim out two different houses. I promise you, I am not going to get the same result, although the tool is the same. The guy with the most experience, the guy that's been working at his job, the guy that takes pride in his job, the guy that knows the tricks about using that tool to its best advantage is going to do much better job than the guy who really doesn't care, who really hasn't used it much, doesn't have the experience. I'm going to get two different results with the same tool. So that's the idea behind asking me if this tool or these tools have a record. Sure, in my hands, they're awesome. Most of our traders' hands, they're awesome. If somebody wants to slap them on a chart and start being a professional trader on their first day, chances are they're not going to have a lot of luck. All right, let's see. Let me back up a little bit. The Rockstar. The Rockstar is the OBOS indicator. It's the speed tick indicator, and it's the Super D indicator. Okay, that's all wrapped into one. Connor, how much is the trade room after the first month? I think we just raised the price recently. To be honest, Rick, most people purchase the unlimited trade room because after just a few months of paying for the trade room, it doesn't make sense to pay for it anymore if you just buy the unlimited. So most people do that. We do have some that do month to month, but for the most part, the unlimited is a much better deal. Definitive rules for push. Yeah, not. It seems pretty obvious, but I use the Mometer to determine push. I also use that Naked Rockstar zone, Milby. So whenever price goes outside of that zone, I'm going to consider that a good push. The more straight up and down the bars are relative to the previous bars, the stronger the push. Tom, we don't use or need a market profile indicator. Yeah, Ulrich, go ahead and send us a support request, and we'll take a look at that next week. Performance for the year. Okay, Mark, I guess you typed that in after the long explanation I gave, so hopefully I already answered that question. Mike, the ES with Rockstar, it works great, but and we do trade the ES in the trade room. To be honest, Mike, most of our traders don't even bother with the ES because it's a big fat cow and it moves too slow. It's kind of over bloated. There are many much better opportunities to trade than the ES. And so we trade 6 different instruments. The ES is one of them, but we keep that in the trade room. And I'll be honest with you, it's in the trade room because of so many people think that their best opportunities are trading the ES because of the old and misleading information that's out there about the ES. People kind of get stuck thinking, oh, I feel comfortable and this is where I need to be because of all the stuff that I've read. And so we have it in our trade room to attract people that think they want to trade the ES. And then they start watching us killing it on the CL and the GC and the YM and the NQ. We're just killing it. And in the meantime, all the ES traders are sitting there going, well, I'm not getting as many opportunities. So yes, we have the ES, so you can come in, you can watch it on our charts, you can attempt to trade it, but what's going to happen, and what happens with so many traders, is their eyes become open to other and better opportunities. So come hang out with us and you'll see. All right, so good questions. We're going to move on now to the next part, but before we do that, I know that many of you drink a lot of coffee, and probably you might like to have a little bit of a bathroom break before we start on the next section. Not you. You have to stay. Now, let's take a 3-minute break. All right? 3 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start talking about the new tools in the Essential Add-on Suite for NinjaTrader 8 that everybody's going to have. All right? So 3 minutes and we'll be back. John, yeah, that's a good question. You don't see the zone, but inside the rock indicator, you can give the rock star, you can color it different color if it's inside or outside the zone. Of course, the zone parameters is also can also be changed by the user. So although the naked rockstar zone is not printed on the chart, You can color the rock stars a different color, whether they're inside or outside. Used to trade the DAX, Reiner. We're not trading it now, but it was a good instrument for us for a long time. But we just found some that seem to trade a little bit better, that we like a little bit better in the trade room. But no, it works great with the DAX. All right, just about another minute, and we'll get started again. Looks like we've had at least one person took advantage of the coupon code Connor put out. Can't see if we have more than two left or not. I do see that we have at least one. Whose win rate? Mine? Connor's? One of the other one of the other members? I can tell you what's reported back to me by our other members. Okay? What's reported back to me, people trading the Rockstar that know how to trade it, that have worked at it, that will qualify. We don't trade every time a Rockstar pops up, Mike. It has to be qualified. Yeah, Yuri is one of our, comes to our trade room every day, or almost every day, and he's trading around 80%. What's reported back to us by our members is 75 to 80%, 75 to 85% win rate. And I fall into that as well. All right, let's move on. So we introduced this new product on Thursday. This product has been being developed for, gosh, almost 2 years now. We've developed a product called the Essential Add-on Suite. The Essential Add-on Suite is a suite of add-ons that make NinjaTrader easier and more efficient to use. Okay, that's the whole intention of the add-on suite. You're not going to see a lot of indicators like what that are reading the markets to give us an edge in some way. No technical analysis indicators will ever be involved in the Essential Add-on Suite. Instead, we're creating tools to make NinjaTrader better, easier, more efficient to use. Okay? So there's a number of our add-ons in that image there, and we're going to go over those. Okay? So we call it the Essential Add-on Suite. Now, we released this on Thursday. All right? We've been almost 2 years. And we finally released it on Thursday, and we're kind of sitting in the background. Remember this old commercial? We are officially open for business. Okay.
experiencing a virtual reality?
Okay, so I thought about this commercial uh, Friday or Thursday after our event because the orders started coming in and people started downloading and using the free trial. And at first we were real excited, and then we were like, "Oh God, there's so many people." So anyway, we're very excited about the release of the Essential Add-on Suite. So, um, so here's the thing. So NinjaTrader is developed by who? Programmers, right? Not traders. It's developed by a company that develops a trading platform. They do not trade every day. And I can promise you, programmers don't have time to trade every day. All right? Programmers generally have different motivations for creating a product. Typically, they're not going to create a product for the daily users of the product. They're going to generally be creating and trying to appeal to the power user, okay? Most programmers and developers are going to build a product for the power user of that product. And they're going to leave off a lot of stuff because they feel the power user doesn't need it. All right? I'm not a power user. And I expect that you're probably not either because there's a very small percentage of the actual users of our power users. So power users are people who've used most of the features, who understand what's inside of the product and know about every feature and what they do and in great detail. They demand superior performance. They spend most of their time using the product and they know it inside and out. Okay? All right, so that's not me, and there's a good chance that's not you. All right, so NinjaTrader users, we divide them up into a pie chart. You're going to see a small group of power users, and then there's the rest of us, right? The rest of us typically have a pretty general knowledge of how NinjaTrader works and what we can figure out how to do with it, but we probably really don't know all that it can do. We really only understand about 10 or 20% of what it can do, and we use that, okay? Because that's what we've discovered we need to know, right? I probably know a lot more about NinjaTrader 8 than most of you do, and I still don't know that much, okay? At least, in the big picture. So we mostly just know enough to get things up and running and to accomplish putting on an order, placing a trade. All right, it doesn't mean we don't want to learn. Most likely we're just not interested in taking the time to learn all the stuff that we probably aren't going to use anyway, kind of like our cell phones, right? I have a cell phone or this computer. I really don't know everything it can do, but I know about apps. And so if there's something I want to do, I'm going to just download an app. All right? So let's take a look. All right, this is a typical control center toolbar. There's one of our add-ons. Very basic. We're going to add, we changed it to the new control center toolbar. We're making it more streamlined, less cluttered. And more importantly, we now have more room for more icons for more add-ons that we're going to add. And you're going to notice that we still have the icons for the typical control center toolbar. We still have those. We just remove words next to it because it's really not necessary. But we changed some things and we added some things. We still have the workspaces icon, but it's different. We also have a boost icon, a save and exit, and a save and restart icon. Okay, so let's look at the boost. So boosting your NinjaTrader. Windows has this ability to parse out the processor resources between all the running processes based on a priority level. And whichever process has a higher priority gets the higher gets more processor resources. Okay. We gave you the ability to use the boost to, all you got to do is highlight it, just hover over it, you'll highlight it, and it'll say boost NT performance. Give you the ability to change where in the processor NinjaTrader rates for processor resources. Okay. Typically, I'm going to run it on high. When it's set to high, it turns red. All right. Now you have to do this every time you start NinjaTrader because it's a Windows function. So every time you start an application, you have to change this. So, but we give that to you right on the toolbar. Now, if you have issues with NinjaTrader 8, you have problems with lagging or stalling or locking up or whatever, try the boost and see if that doesn't help. So I noticed when I upgraded from NinjaTrader 7 to NinjaTrader 8, one of the first things I noticed is they took away the exit. They took away the, in NinjaTrader 7, you go to File, and at the bottom of the drop-down, there's Exit. And that's usually, I would exit NinjaTrader. Well, they kind of left that off. And all they have is that little tiny X up in the right-hand corner. And I hate those things. It's hard to hit sometimes, and it's a little tiny little thing. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put a button on the toolbar that's so much easier to see and get to. So that's the save and exit. It's the same as hitting the little X in the corner. Save and restart I added because I'm constantly restarting NinjaTrader. And I do that mostly during my testing or development stuff, not so much during my trading. Okay, when I'm trading, I'm concentrating on trading, and typically I don't have any problems with NinjaTrader. But it's when I'm not trading and I want to start making changes, or maybe there's a problem with NinjaTrader, whatever. Very quick, just click the button, just click it right here. It's going to save all of your open workspaces and restart NinjaTrader. If you're in a trade or you have a standing order, it won't work. It'll pop up a window and say, you can't do that until you cancel all your orders. So you make a mistake and leave an order on and restart. Okay? Workspaces. Now that icon is there, we've just made it a little bit more efficient. So many of us create lots of workspaces, lots and lots of workspaces. We make minor changes to a workspace, but we want to save it, but we want to keep the old one, and yada yada. So anyway, and I know this because I've done remote support on people's computers, and I see how many workspaces people create. What I also noticed is that sometimes it's a long time to find the workspace you're looking for. Sometimes you save workspaces and you don't even remember what they are, but you don't want to get rid of them. So we've created a new tool called Workspace Manager. So over on the right-hand side, when you click on Workspaces, you'll see the EAS Workspace Manager. That's going to open a window that's going to give you the ability to see all the open workspaces and to sort your workspaces into groups. All right. It also will put the name of the open workspace on the control center. So you always know which workspace you're using that you're currently in without having to go look for it. It's right there. The groups. You can create the favorites group. This group is default. Okay? Whatever workspaces you use most often, and we all have our favorite few workspaces. Put that in your favorites group. Now, just because it's in the favorites group doesn't mean it can't also exist in another group. Okay, so you can add workspaces to as many groups as you want. You can create as many groups as you want. All right, so all you have to do is hit the gear. You can add, delete, reorder how they are. You know what order they're in. You can reorder the work groups. You can do all of that inside of a Workspace Manager add-on. Also, when you hover over the Workspaces icon, we have this menu item here. You hover over that and it'll pull up all your favorites. All right, so you don't have to scroll through the list of one you want. Your favorites will pop up right here. All right, so one more thing on the toolbar. This actually shows up on every window. You'll notice when you log into NinjaTrader, you'll see this. There's an umbrella man. That's the Intentional Trader logo. If it's flashing, that means you have a message. So you highlight that, click on it, and there's your message. You click OK. Now, if you click it again, it's going to take you to your user portal where there's information about your account. It'll have your messages, your subscriptions, and this is where you go when you want to check on what is the most current version and download it. Okay? We're actually making a change here where you may not need to go into the portal to mark your messages read. We're going to try to do that from within NinjaTrader. They actually don't give us the ability to do that in NinjaTrader, but we think we may have found a workaround for that. And that just came up yesterday. All right, so there's that tool. So NinjaTrader Basic, NinjaTrader 8 Basic gives you 5 different skins. All right, 5 different skins, and that's it. And they're very boring. There's really nothing to look at there. And with as many hours as many of us spend, wouldn't it be nice to kind of dress up your workspace a little bit? So we give you that ability with our theme changer. So you can now enhance the theme. So maybe you're a big Falcons fan and you want to add images to Windows. Or maybe you've got a bunch of dogs that you want to keep their pictures right there where your eyes are always looking. Or maybe your family that's my new grandson. Maybe family photos that you want to see and look at. And you can change these regularly and easily. All right. Maybe you want to, your last vacation or your next vacation or some motivation to keep you focused on your trading. Or you just want a black or a white background. Maybe you want to change colors. Maybe you want a blue one or a red one or crumpled yellow paper with white borders. We can do all of that. How about transparent? You can create transparent windows. These are transparent, showing the background of the works of your desktop, your Windows desktop. Or maybe you want a video of Jim Cramer or some video. You can put video on your desktop and have transparent windows on top of the video. I don't know if I would want to trade like this, but some people want to have these the ability to keep up with the news, and they don't have the real estate. So just make your windows transparent. We can do that with a theme changer. All right. Now, We always have. I just saw that. Yeah, no, not Connor's son. It's his sister's son. Charting add-ons. We've added some charting add-ons inside of the indicators dialog. You'll notice that the available indicators, where you go to choose indicators, up at the top we have a folder, EAS. Double click it and you'll see the current charting add-ons that we have. We have chart back, chart tools, toolbar, and rollover date. All right, and so if you add those to the chart, they're going to just show up around the edges of the chart. This is not an indicator as it relates to being a um, technical indicator to help you place trades. These are things to just make your life easier using NinjaTrader charts. Okay, so this is our chart tools toolbar. Okay, we just kind of hide it on the side and we get it to where you can collapse tools in groups. Okay, and it just stays right there on the side where you can easily get to it and you can expand or contract it whenever you want. Okay, so that's the chart tools toolbar. Our background changer will be a little icon. All we're doing when you add the background change to a chart is adding this icon. Okay, it doesn't actually change the background in the indicator parameters. This is where you do it. When you click this icon, you have the ability to open up the chart background browser, and you browse to the images that you want, and then you can slide the opacity. Remember I showed you the transparent windows? Well, if I wanted this window to be transparent, I'm going to slide this all the way over to the left. Or if I want it to pick up, to get darker and pick up maybe the black background, I'll slide it more to the center. So it kind of darkens it a little bit. Okay, so we have the ability to change the opacity levels of the images. All right? Oh, I skipped something. Oh, no, it's coming up. We have another tool called the Replay Data Manager. So for any of you that are using Playback, this is a tool that you can get from within NinjaTrader. You can choose the instruments that you want to download, add them to the list, add a start date, add an end date, choose which of the markets you want to download by checking them, and then click the download button and get all of them in one download. Okay? Now, all of those exist on your computer. So now we've got our file management. Whoops, I hate it. I click in the wrong place. Let's see if I can speed that up. Let's go to our file manager. Now, typically, to manage data files or replay data files, you're going to have to go to a Windows Explorer window. I don't want to make this thing crash. There. So on the right, you see a Windows Explorer window. And this is typically the only way to manage the data. But we've given you that ability to manage the data here. Okay, so you either go to the downloader or you click this tab to go to file management. So you'll notice then that I can go in and I can just click on either an entire instrument and remove it, or I could click on just the files and remove it. And you'll notice it's being removed from the Windows, the file manager. Over here, I mean the Windows Explorer window. So you can now manage all of your data files. And just so you know, if you download too many and you have too many of those files on your computer, you may notice a degradation in NinjaTrader performance. Okay, some people have reported that to me. So you want to manage those. All right. Now, how many of you are generally confused about rollover dates for futures contracts? It always seems to be a source of confusion for a lot of people as to when to roll over next contract. Here's my rule of thumb. When I roll over is when the volume moves from the current contract into the next contract. Well, how are you going to know that without studying volume? We made this real easy. We've got this icon right here that loaded when we added it to our charts and the indicators. This icon gives us the ability to now go in and check each the current instrument. First of all, it's going to tell us when the official rollover is. Officially, the rollover is on the 31st for the GC. Okay, notice I'm trading on the 30th, but the rollover date is the 31st. If I click these buttons, it's going to read today's volume in each of those contracts. Now, I know since this contract has 3 times the volume as this contract, I know I don't want to be trading 08 anymore, which is what this chart is, 08. I want to trade the December contract. So all I have to do is click the rollover now, and it rolled over to the December contract. That might be my favorite tool, and it's actually so simple. Now, just because we give you all of these add-ons, that doesn't mean you have to use them. You don't have to use the Replay Data Manager or the Control Center toolbar. If you want to, you can just remove them. Just disable them. So what are we doing? What are our intentions with the EAS or the Essential Add-on Suite? First of all, we want to let anybody try it for 31 days. Anybody that wants to try it, you get it for 31 days. We're going to make it, hopefully after you've tried it, you're going to say, oh, I got to have this. And you're going to see how inexpensive it is. It is basically a no-brainer that anybody can afford it and that you'll recommend it to other NinjaTrader users. So we're not going to try to make a whole lot of money off of any one person. We're thinking that all NinjaTrader users can use these add-ons. Excuse me. We have programmers working full-time on development of add-ons. This is not something that we're going to throw out there and we're done with. In fact, we have a lot of ideas and we have new add-ons on the drawing board. In fact, we have new add-ons actually currently being developed. And as they get added to the suite, that's going to precipitate a price increase, but not for current users. Current users get all new add-ons for free. There's never an increase. So if you sign up now and you get a subscription now, if you continue on with subscription, no matter how much we add to this suite, and we've got some really cool things coming, you're not going to pay a higher price. Only new or returning customers will pay the higher price. All right, so right now we have 2 big ones that are currently in development. If any of you have used Playback for NinjaTrader 8, you've felt the pain. Playback, first of all, I thought Trader 7 Market Replay is the best tool I've ever used for working at my trading. The problem with it is it's a little bit finicky, you know, and so I was thinking, well, maybe when NinjaTrader 8 comes out, they're going to fix some of that, make it better. Well, in my opinion, it's not only is it not better, but it's worse. So I see an opportunity for us to create a product that is better than NinjaTrader's playback utility. Okay? So we're working on that. We're also going to, have created, we just have some more work to do on it, an indicator or an add-on that we call Chart Dome. Chart Dome is like your static Superdome, but no fees associated with the with static Superdome. Okay, so it'll be free to use. All right, and we have a full help pages with all the add-ons and how to use them, frequently asked questions, installation help, support, release notes. All of that is in our EAS wiki. All right. All right, so we just launched this Thursday, so we're still in our launch phase, and we're pretty excited about it. All of that I just showed you is only $8.95 a month or $89.50 a year. So you get 2 months for free if you do the year. So we started on Thursday, and we said the first 50 subscribers, you can do it for $5 a month or $50 a year for the first 50. We haven't reached 50 yet. We're in the high 30s or low 40s. So there's still a few coupons available if you want to go ahead and get started and not do a trial. Okay? You can cancel at any time. All right? You can do a free trial, you can subscribe, and you just go to the eas.theintentionaltrader.com. Okay? I think Connor, will you put that in there so they can just click on it? So current subscribers never pay a higher price. New add-ons are constantly being developed. It's user-driven development. And here's the thing. I'm a user. I use NinjaTrader every day. Our trade room members are users. Most of you are users. Tell me what NinjaTrader needs. Don't tell me about technical indicators. I don't care about that for this. Okay? I don't care about that for this. I'm not looking for ideas for technical indicators. There's no commitments. The only commitment is that you finish the month that you paid for. You can cancel at any time. So we're going to, until we hit, I'm sure we're going to hit the 50 before August 31st. But we got close last night, but we're going to offer it, let you guys know about it. And so if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, there's still a few left. So any question on the Essential Add-on Suite or on the special offer I showed you a little while ago for our indicator package. Oh yeah, and this is free with Einstein. So if you get the Einstein package, you get all this for free. You don't have to worry about buying it or trying it or any of that. Any questions? No questions. Everybody is eager to get started. They're already downloading it, Connor. I can actually see people downloading it. As I work on it and as it gets developed and it's ready to go, what will happen is that we'll create a new release. It'll be inside the new release. You'll see a little flashing icon when you log into your NinjaTrader platform. You click on it and it'll say, hey, there's a new release. Or if it's a release that is a required upgrade, as soon as you pull up NinjaTrader, you'll get a pop-up that says that a new version is available. Click here to download and get started. So determined adding an add-on, I'm just going to listen to what I think that people want, what I want, and then I'll have to determine feasibility of that want, because it's not as easy to code these add-ons as you might think. So there are certain things that we can and just can't do because we don't have access inside of the NinjaTrader program. So first thing is to determine, is this feasible? And how many people actually want this or would find this a good thing to have? And so we'll be polling our EAS users for that. Heinz, I'm not really sure. We've been so focused for the last few months on actually getting everything wrapped up and ready to release that we put the chart dome on the back burner so that we could get this released. I'm really happy with the way it's going, but kind of 3/4 of the way through the development, I came up with a better idea, I think. So we may start over on it, taking the code that we already have, but implementing it in a more logical and efficient way. So I have the programmers, working hard at getting all of this stuff ready. And now we'll go back. Now that this is released and we're getting feedback from people and everything seems to be going really well, now we'll start shifting our focus back on the chart dome and also on the playback utility, or the replacement for the playback utility, and a few other things. We got some cool little ones that are, that will be added, like just click a button to align all your windows, make sure everything's nice and neat and aligned and stuff like that. Again, it's a usability thing. It's make NinjaTrader more efficient, more fun to use, easier to look at, that kind of stuff. All right, well, that's it. I know we went over an awful lot today, so feel free to email us, support@theintentionaltrader.com, or Connor@theintentionaltrader.com, and we'll answer all your questions. It is Saturday. We will be manning the chat on the site. If you want to hit us up on the website and have a chat with us, we will do that for just a little while today, but we'll likely close that down in just a couple hours. Yeah, Yuri, it is similar. I'm trying to make it as much like Static Superdome as we can, so that it would be an easy transition for users that are currently using the Static Superdome to jump over to the Chart Dome. And that's going to be one of the easier ones, Luis, but it's whatever makes it good for you. I mean, I've had people say that they would pay $8.95 a month just to have the rollover dates on their chart. That button to rollover? Just that. People have said that's worth it right there for me. That I don't have to go hunting down rollover dates and when to roll over and all this other stuff. So each add-on could be worth the price just to have that one. And we're just going to keep developing and more and more. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm sure we'll be seeing some new faces I know we're going to see at least one and maybe two new faces in the trade room on Monday, and hopefully we'll see all of you too. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Gord, we have indicators for NinjaTrader 7. Not all of the ones I showed today are for NinjaTrader 7. In fact, there is no Rockstar for NinjaTrader 7. Everything we do from this point forward is developing for NinjaTrader 8. We do have a lot of the indicators. Most of them we have for NinjaTrader 7. But a few of them, since we've moved over to NinjaTrader 8, we've developed only for 8. If you need more clarification of that, you can contact us and we'll give a list.